Virtual Fun Art. Web 3.
Hiya, my name is Jamie from Virtual Fun Art, and today I'm going to be talking about the Ethereum network. So by the end of this video, you'll learn how the Ethereum network operates and what you can use it for, and what its future might be. So when was the Ethereum network created? Well, it's first created in 2015, or that's when it's first launched. And it was invented by Vitalik Buterin plus a highly specialized team of engineers. Their mission was to build a programmable blockchain. The concept was to create not just digital money like how Bitcoin works, but a digital everything. They wanted to build the smartphone of blockchains, a system where you could run millions of different apps. And this is exactly what they did. However, Ethereum has been evolving ever since its initial launch and still is. In my opinion, is getting better and better. So how does Ethereum work? So it runs on something known as the Ethereum blockchain. The Ethereum blockchain is basically a decentralized global computer, which is like an app store, really. Decentralized means that ownership and control of the network is distributed among thousands of different people, also known as nodes, rather than being held by a single company like Microsoft or Google. This means there is no need for a middleman, and no single person or company owns Ethereum. If you want to send money to another person, you do not need to go through someone like a bank, because you essentially are the bank. You own the crypto wallet. Yeah, so Ethereum has an Ether token for payments. It's got this sort of diamond type of symbol on the coin. So that's its main currency for the Ethereum network. Ethereum is a global computer. I like to think of Ethereum as a global computer that can run any type of application, which can integrate with the internet. It can run any type of application via Web3 tech. Applications on Ethereum are basically smart contracts that run on Ethereum network. A smart contract is a back-end piece of code which tells how the app should interact with the user. Ethereum is a platform that thousands of developers use to build new kinds of applications, known as Web3 apps or DApps, decentralized apps. Ethereum allows users to own digital assets. This is one of the brilliant things about it. You can own digital assets in the form of non-fungible tokens, NFTs. This could be an image, song, or video, for example. You can then trade, sell, swap, or gain royalties from that asset. Yeah, and this new internet technology of ownership is known as Web3. Web3 is essentially the evolution of the internet. So when the internet first came about, you had Web 1, which means you could only basically read from the internet. And then you had Web 2 technology, where you could read and upload or write. And now you have Web 3. So you could do both those things, but also you can own the assets. This is the new evolution of the internet. Ethereum has layer 2 blockchains linked to it. So this is probably the most confusing thing about Ethereum, is that there is actually a massive ecosystem of other blockchains which interact with it. So Ethereum is known as a layer 1 network, or Ethereum mainnet. It is the main computer which controls everything. Think of Ethereum as the main computer that processes everything. It's incredibly secure, but can get expensive and congested to process everything just via that computer. This is where layer 2 networks come into play. There's an ecosystem of layer 2 chains built on top of Ethereum, such as Immutable X, Base, Polygon, and even Sony's new chain called Soneium. The layer 2 chains are needed to specialize in different functions, so that each app can be the best at that particular job. It is important to note that layer 2s rely on Ethereum's mainnet to function. Also, layer 2 networks pay fees to Ethereum mainnet. Over the years, this ecosystem of different chains being built in Ethereum is expanding. They're also able to connect to the Ethereum mainnet to carry out specialized tasks. A good example of this is playing games. Gaming apps would be built on a layer 2 chain like Base or Soneium. So Ethereum has a staker system to keep it secure. So anyone buying ETH could stake it. This helps keep the network secure as they're locking up a load of their own money. What is Ethereum used for? Well, there is actually many uses for it. Decentralized finance is probably one of the main ones. So financial systems without banks, such as people who want to borrow money, save money, lend money. You could do all this on the Ethereum network. Also, there's NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So you can actually prove that you have ownership of certain assets, and then you can choose to trade those assets if you want to. Or sometimes that asset could prove that your loyalty to a certain project, and you might get rewards for that. Also, there's decentralized gaming. So traditionally, when someone plays games, you don't really get to have ownership of those assets, but in the Web3 world, you can. So there's a lot of games where you can acquire items within the game and then sell them on a sort of trading platform, such as OpenSea, which is like the eBay for digital assets in the crypto world. Yeah, there's also many other types of applications as well. Even storing data. There's AI type of networks as well. It's always expanding. There's so many different applications. So how is Ethereum different from Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is the most decentralized network out there with a limited supply, so it's seen as a good store of value, which is why sometimes given a name digital gold. Although the same can actually be done with Ethereum, Bitcoin's network is only a store of value and is seen as the most secure network for that particular purpose. So basically, Bitcoin is just very specialized, actually just be the store of value for a currency. So yeah, it's like a secure gold vault, whereas Ethereum is seen as like a digital oil that actually does things. So what do you think is the future of Ethereum? Well, yeah, I mean, many branded companies are choosing Ethereum for example, Sony's Soneium chain. So they're flocking to this chain for a reason. That's because it's so versatile. It can do so much, and it's probably realistically the only chain that will meet all their needs as a company. I believe this trend will keep carrying on. Like more and more massive brands out there are going to get involved with Ethereum. Ethereum is constantly improving and getting easier to use as well. So many layer 2 networks attached to Ethereum are starting to use smart accounts known as account abstraction. And this means you don't actually need to be a crypto wizard just to sign into any websites, as you can just use traditional methods like your Gmail account. So yeah, that makes onboarding very easy for the average user. They won't even know they're using blockchain most of the time in the future. It'll be seamless. They'll be going onto a website which is run on the blockchain, but they won't know it. I think that's the way forward. Yeah, also there's this thing where you could buy real world assets. That's become more of a reality. So that means the average person can own like fractions of a robot in a big warehouse, or treasury bills, or real estate, and lots more. In fact, there's recently this new blockchain, layer 2 blockchain on Ethereum called Robinhood, and that's actually what they're going to offer, real world assets. So that means you can actually buy stock and those sort of things through that company. So there you have it. That's my short summary of what Ethereum is. If you want to know any more about Ethereum, please, please say it in the comments. I will make a video about it. Okay, hopefully that helps. Okay, see ya.
Subscribe for more virtual fun art Web3 guides.